Hi students, as a part of engineering chemistry, today I am going to explain the very important topic with you. So that topic about which I am going to explain you today is importance of chemistry in engineering. Because why I have chosen this particular lecture is, most of you will be in a confusion or a dilemma that why the chemistry is a part of engineering stream. Why the chemistry has been introduced in the engineering as well. Right. So because of that, what you will do is you will get some sort of hatred on it. It's not the case, students. There is the importance of chemistry in engineering. That is the reason it has been introduced in the engineering chemistry, or in the engineering chemistry has been introduced. Right. Now, in order to explain this particular topic, I will consider the Jain to Hyderabad syllabus as a reference. So since I have considered the Jain to Hyderabad syllabus as a reference, doesn't mean that this particular video is confined or restricted only to the Jain to Hyderabad students, because almost all the engineering chemistry which is a part of the universities has been prescribed or designed by the AICT only. You will find all these units which are a part of Jain to Hyderabad with more or less changes in the other university engineering chemistry as well. Right. So it is not confined or restricted only to the Jain to Hyderabad students. Right. Okay, before going to enter into this particular lecture or topic, I would like to ask one question for you, that is, what is that particular substance which is being utilized or used by each and every student irrespective of the branch, irrespective of the engineering branch? Just think of it. Just pause the video and think of it. You'll get the answer. You'll get the answer. If not, see the video, watch the video. So that particular substance which is being utilized or used by each and every engineer irrespective of the branch is the metal. Just think of it, student. Whether the engineer is electronic and communication engineer, or electrical and electronic engineer, or the computer science engineer, the aeronautical engineer, civil engineer, mechanical engineer, each and every engineer should utilize or use this particular metal as one of the major constituents which is a part of the electronic board which is going to be designed by the engineering student or engineer. So without the metal, so definitely the electronic code or any of the engineering code cannot be designed at all. Right. So for example, if you see the electronic industry, so electronic industry is absolutely based upon the electronic engineer. So electronic engineer will give the idea how to design the electronic code. Right. And in order to understand how to design the electronic code, so definitely the knowledge of metals is required, because the electronic code which is being designed, which is going to be designed by the electronic engineer, utilizes so many metals. So those metals which are a part of electronic code includes copper, lithium, tin, silver, gold, nickel, aluminium, etc. So many metals are a part of the electronic code which is going to be designed by the electronic engineer students. Electronic engineer. Let us consider another example. So let us talk about the computer science engineer. So if you open your personal computer or if you open the computer right? You'll find so many metals in it. So many metals are impregnated in it, in the computer, which includes aluminium, antimony, arsenic, barium, beryllium, cadmium, chromium, copper, cobalt, copper, gallium, gold, lead, manganese, mercury, palladium, platinum, selenium, silver, and zinc. So you don't believe, students, just open the computer cabinet, you will find all these metals in it. This your computer, which is being used by the computer science student, is a conglomeration of so many metals. So many metals. Let us consider another example. If you see the civil engineer utilizes, what is the major purpose of for the civil engineer? The major purpose of for the civil engineer is the construction, students, right? So without the metal, the construction is possible. Without the iron metal, to be more precise, the construction is possible. Without the iron metal, construction is not at all possible. Not at all possible. Now the metals which are being used by the civil engineer includes steel, aluminium, iron, copper, stainless steel, etc. In the similar fashion, the metals which are used by the aeronautical engineer is aluminium, mechanical engineer is iron and its alloys. So dear students, my intention to you is to make you aware the fact that without the metal, any of the engineering good design is not at all possible. Because it is evidence. It is the evidence. Whatever the example, here is the evidence, students. Whatever the metals which have been depicted on the board is the clear-cut evidence that without the usage of the metals in any of the engineering good design is not possible. It's not at all possible. So, by this, it is amply clear that without the knowledge of the metals, without knowing the chemistry behind these metals which are going to be used by each and every engineer irrespective of the branch, the engineer cannot become a perfect engineer. Perfect engineer. For example, if you take the computer science engineer, as the computer is being designed by the combination of all these metals, several metals are there. So without the knowledge of how the cabinet of how the computer has been designed, just coding and encoding doesn't make any sense. So in order to become a perfect engineer, so definitely the knowledge behind the metals is required. The science behind each and every metal is required. And the science which gives the information about the metals is chemistry. So you need to know the knowledge of, you need to have the knowledge of these metals, without which you cannot become a perfect engineer. Keep this in mind. Right. For example, without this knowledge, what happens is, if one X person is using one metal, let us say the iron, the Y person utilizes the same metal. By seeing the Y person, Z person also uses the same metal. Why? Because due to the lack of the knowledge, due to the lack of knowledge of the chemistry behind each and every metal. If you know the properties of each and every metal, definitely instead of using one metal which is being used by the X person, the Y person uses another metal, Z person uses another metal. Lack of the knowledge of the metals. Lack of the knowledge of metals. So in order to simplify the things, I will consider the most familiar example which you had. If you see any of the mobile, any of the branded mobile, either it is Apple brand or Samsung brand or Nokia brand or Lenovo brand, whatever the brand is, even the China brand utilizes. Just open the mobile screens. What you will find? You'll find the lithium-ion battery in it. Have you ever make an attempt of thinking, at least, that why the lithium-ion battery is only used in all the mobiles irrespective of the brand? No, you are very much least bothered. Somebody will design the lithium-ion battery, and that lithium-ion battery will be used by you. Right? That's it. But what is the chemistry behind the lithium-ion battery? Why only lithium-ion battery is utilized by each and every mobile companies, irrespective of the brands? Why not the other? When lithium is doing the job of the battery, why can't the sodium? Have you ever thought this? Why not the sodium-ion battery? Right? The least bother. You're very much least bother. So, my dear students, do remember that you are the technical students, no doubt in that. So, you are the technical student. It doesn't mean that you should have only the technical knowledge. With the technical knowledge, you can become an engineer, no doubt in that. But you cannot become a perfect engineer. Your engineering comes under the category of the science and technology. It is not only the technology. Both are inevitable. Science depends upon the technology, and technology depends upon the science. Both are inevitable. So, definitely the knowledge of the sciences is required. But what you are doing, students, you are least bothering about the sciences. Just you are focusing on the marks. That's it. The science subject is there, whether the physics or chemistry is there, in order to get the marks, I will read this. Not. If one particular subject is introduced in your curriculum, it means that there is a importance of that particular subject in your curriculum, in your branch or the stream. Definitely. So don't be in a confusion or dilemma why the chemistry has been introduced in the engineering, why physics and why mathematics, because already I have discussed the mathematics, physics and chemistry, all the sciences and the technology is inevitable, unavoidable, students. Please keep this in mind. Right? So my intention is to make you aware that without the knowledge of the metals or the materials, you cannot become a perfect engineer. Perfect. I'm emphasizing on this. You can become an engineer, but you cannot become a perfect engineer. You cannot become a perfect engineer. So that is the reason the chemistry has been introduced in your engineering. In order to understand the chemistry behind each and every metal which is going to be used in any of the engineering code, in order to understand the chemistry behind each and every material which is going to be used in order to design the engineering code as an engineer. This is the reason. But please, I beg you that don't think that why the chemistry and physics and mathematics is a part. Definitely there is a reason behind it. So that is the reason you have to study the chemistry in your engineering. But don't think that why chemistry, why physics, why mathematics, since we are studying since our childhood, why again? Don't be in that particular thinking process or thought process, please. Right? So in this context, already I have discussed, I am going to explain this particular importance of chemistry in engineering with the help of the JNT Hyderabad syllabus as a reference. So if you take the JNT Hyderabad engineering chemistry as a reference, the first unit is molecular structure and theories of bonding. Dear students, what I said. In order to become a perfect engineer, so definitely we need the knowledge of the chemistry behind the metals and the material, right? To be more precise, you need the knowledge of the properties of each and every metal and material which you are going to use in order to design the electronic good. Being an engineer, you should know the properties of the metals and the materials. So in the first unit, that is molecular structure and the theories of bonding, you are going to study the properties of the metal and the material at atomic level. Because the properties, so bulk properties and the nano properties, both are different, students. Both are different. Whenever we go to the nano range, the properties of the materials will indefinitely change. Indefinitely changes. So definitely, in order to get the clear-cut information about the properties of the metals and materials, definitely you have to know the properties of the metals and materials at bulk level and nano level. That is the reason the first unit, molecular structure and theories of bonding, is a part of your engineering chemistry syllabus. In this particular unit, you are going to study the properties of the metals and materials at the bulk level. So coming to the second unit, that is nanomaterials, you are going to study the properties of the metals and the materials at nano level. So coming to the third unit, students, the third unit is electrochemistry and corrosion. So in this particular unit, you are going to study about so it is the combination of the two topics, actually, electrochemistry and the corrosion. In the electrochemistry, you are going to study about how to design a battery. Mostly, it will be stressed or it will be emphasized on how to design a battery with the help of all the basics which are a part of electrochemistry. And already it was discussed that without the battery, none of the electronic good will function. Some are there, but most of the electronic or engineering goods will not function. Right? And not only that, students, when we are saying that the metal is the one which is being used by every engineer irrespective of the branch, definitely you should have the knowledge of when the metal gets damaged. Under what conditions the metal gets damaged. Otherwise, what happens is, without knowing these facts, when the metals gets damaged and what are the metals are more prone to undergo the destruction, means gets damaged easily. So you cannot utilize that particular metal for designing the electronic good based upon the purpose, based upon the utilization purpose. So based upon the utilization, for example, in the case of aeronautical engineer, right, the aircraft parts are made by using the aluminium only. Why? What is the reason? Right? So definitely we need, that is, you need the knowledge of when the metals gets damaged and what conditions the metal gets damaged. This sort of knowledge is very much needed for you, students. So that is going to be provided from the third unit, that is electrochemistry and corrosion. Coming to the fourth unit, polymers. How the metals are important as the conductors. We know the metals are the good conductors. How the metals are the good conductors of electricity. In a similar fashion, when the conductor is there, definitely we need the insulator. And the knowledge of the insulator is being provided in this particular unit, that is polymers. Polymers are the very good examples of insulators. because they are having the very good insulating property. Moreover, most of the polymers which we are using, because the polymers are indispensable, right? So definitely we have to use the plastic day-to-day life. Everyday life we are using the plastic, right? Isn't it? But whatever the plastic which is being used is non-biodegradable. It may lead to the air pollution, water pollution, everything, and if the cattle eats that plastic, non-biodegradable plastic, the cattle will die. So many hazardous effects. I am not going to emphasize on that, but my intention is, in this particular unit, you're not going to study only about the insulating property of the polymers. You are also going to study about the biodegradable polymers which are eco-friendly in nature. So coming to the last unit, which is very, very important, I can say, that is spectroscopy. So in this particular unit, you are going to study about how the structure of the material can be identified. The structure of the metals and material can be identified. So with the help of spectroscopy only, the structure of the metals and materials can be identified, students. So these are only the few. I am not going to give the full information because it is the broad topic, student. The chemistry is the broad topic, a broad subject. I cannot give all the examples. So this is the brief introduction to the chemistry. So this is the reason why the chemistry is a part of engineering, students. But please don't think that as it belongs to the science and as I belong to the technology, chemistry knowledge is not required. Definitely, already I have said, and again I'm saying that I'm saying and emphasizing that to become a perfect engineer, definitely you need the knowledge about the metals and materials. To be more precise, you should know the properties of the metals and the materials at bulk level as well as at nano levels, because at the bulk level and nano level, the same metal and the same material will behave differently. So this knowledge is very, very important in order to become a perfect engineer. So I hope you got the importance of chemistry in engineering, students. Now I hope that so without any confusion or dilemma, you will listen to the classes, the chemistry classes now, because please, students, don't create the hatred. Don't create the hatred on any of the subject, please. So thanks for watching. Thank you all.